Okay, everybody ready?
Yep.
Let's see. Everybody needs to unmute. Everybody needs to unmute. Okay. All right. Okay, guys. We got a lot of material to cover in about an hour, which is not bad. We ought to be able to do it. Hopefully, you guys read those chapters. I want to go to what I put up on Saturday. On Saturday, everybody see this,
Yeah.
right? Okay, so we're going to go there. We're going to start. We talked about the week ahead. Everybody saw that, right? Did that help?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of tells you what we're going to be doing this week. And we said, right, chapters 1, 2, we'll probably get through chapters 1 and 2 today, and then 3 and 4 on Thursday. I put up Huntsville Station on Saturday, I think, and hint, kind of give you a glimpse into chapter 10, which is shot sequences, okay? Because remember, shots make up sequences, sequences make up scenes, and scenes make up the story. That's just important. Right, Anijah, like for portraits, the definition of a portrait is a picture of a person that reveals the essence of a subject's character. You need to ingrain or write it down on, in your notes that shots make up sequences, sequences make up scenes, and scenes make up the story. Those kind of things that you need to have in terms of the tutorials going forward for your assignments as well as for your projects, right? Different between the project and the assignments. Assignments are things that we do, these, small things like we did Amanda Gorman. We have Letter to Someone That I Miss, right, which is due next week, I believe, next
Mm-hmm.
Tuesday.
The
Uh,
16th.
yeah, Tuesday the 16th. Thank you, Sam. And then we have the three people, one topic that's due either the next week or 2 weeks after. And then we get into our midterm, which is a letter to your younger self and so forth. But what is the common thread that runs through all of these assignments and even into our midterm project and into our final project? Uh, Eli, I need to see you. Tien, I need to see you.
Tian's
I'm
got
here.
his camera on. Yeah.
Oh, there you are. Okay,
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, he's still on his phone.
Okay,
His
yeah.
main one is, yeah.
okay. So who do we have missing today?
I think just Keith right now.
Keith. And so who all is here? So because all your names aren't up.
Oh, I can see them, but Enrique,
Enrique,
Thien,
okay, Eli,
Eli,
and
Anijah.
Nigel, okay, and
Yeah.
of course you. Okay.
Mhm.
So
Change that.
so the main thread going through everything, guys, it comes down to one word or compound word, whatever you want to call it, Enrique, storytelling. That when you slice away everything, it comes down to storytelling. Okay. Um, I am a student of the New York Times OpDoc series. Uh, and I saw this middle of last week, and I put it up there um, middle of last week, but you all couldn't see it until Saturday. But it says what, Anijah, read too often?
Too often, the media concentrates on either the story about the person wrongfully incarcerated and wins his/her release, or that trashy exploitation stuff like WeTV's Love After Lockdown. But what about the often untold in-between story of the reflection? What's ahead? Where do I go from here? This is a great storytelling tutorial. Pay close attention to the shock sequences, the audio, and the overall compelling and engaging visual storytelling.
When
Oh, sorry.
when inmates, go ahead.
When inmates are released from Huntsville Unit, the oldest state prison in Texas, the first destination for many is the nearby Greyhound bus station. Every weekday, the bus station becomes a site of reflection for men who spent months or decades imprisoned. The short documentary above was filmed before the pandemic, but captures the precarious period experienced by the estimated 600,000 people released annually from federal and state prisons across the country. With nothing much more than the clothes on their backs, a bus voucher, and a $100 release check, these formerly incarcerated men grapple with the excitement and uncertainty that come with freedom.
Storytelling. And when I looked at this, right, because I have an interest in this issue of mass incarceration and prison reform. We know that the candidates, most of them anyway, not all of them, but part of their platforms, the presidential candidates of 2020, talked about prison reform and so forth and so on, and the inequities, right, Sam? Because we have, the person who doesn't have, who can't afford the high priced lawyer, right? And he got convicted for selling $300 worth of marijuana.
Mm-hmm.
Eli, you okay?
Yeah, I just gotta plug in my computer real quick.
Okay. Come on, boss. You got it?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Sorry.
The average person who sold the $300 bag of marijuana will get that 20-year sentence, right? But the woman and her husband, because the rich ones down in Southern Cal who paid and bribed to get their daughters on into USC, they were able to get sentences that were very light, pay a few fines. I'm talking about very light. I'm talking about less than a year, right, Sam? Slap on the wrist.
Yeah.
So sure is some public embarrassment, but big deal, right? So it's those inequity issues in terms of our criminal justice system and prison reform. And of course, there's also that issue with the public prisons versus the private prisons. We see that President Biden really wants to get rid of a lot of these private prisons because, private prisons, Eli, are in business to do what?
Have prisoners.
What's that?
Have prisoners.
Therefore, make money.
Yeah.
That's the only reason that they exist.
I think like Lindsay Lohan is a good example of that. Like I think she had a couple of drug charges and then kind of had a panic attack and only got like 3 months instead of like her already reduced sentence of like 6 to 7.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I remember it being ridiculous.
I mean, they're the private prisons are you scrape away all the it's to warehouse people. That's all. Very little in terms of this is my editorial, but very little in terms of rehabilitation and so forth and so on, blah, blah, blah. Their job is to, like Eli said, get as many of them in there as they can because that they, for each head that they get in there, the state and the federal government pays them X amount of dollars per person per day, and that's how they make all that money.
Some of them just look like fancy hotels, honestly.
Yep, yep. So anyway, I saw this piece, and I had and I'd often wondered, Nigel, man, what happens, right, to those who get out, and they've been in a long time. What happens? Here we go. Nice segue. Read the article. It's 11 minutes long, but it's worth it.
My hopes and dreams from business would definitely be being able to create opportunities
for the
for
ad.
other people. The honor to be able to serve my community.
New York Times got bills to pay. Pay attention to the filmmaking as well. The establishing shot, medium shot, close-up shot, detail shots, change the angles, the storytelling, right? For those that don't, can't read that sign back there, it says no visitors past this point. That's the prison on the left. People getting out. See the stories, just the pictures that the filmmaker, right? Filmmaker obviously got permission, right, guys, right, to film these guys, right? They didn't just show up one day with a camera. So each one of the ex-prisoners agreed. Establishing shot.
Real quick for me, please.
Change the angle.
Time schedule of your bus ticket leaving here is wrong.
Medium shot.
Go by at 2:30 and 1:30. You might be the only one sitting here if the bus pulls up. So it'd be best don't go nowhere. Y'all need to call home. I got multiple cell phones you can use to call your family. We're waiting on Houston bus, Dallas bus. Once it pulls up, a pro officer will say Dallas load up, Houston load up. That's when y'all load up and leave.
Is cash in, sir? 50, 70, 90.
McAllen, 2:40 in the morning. Dallas, 4:30.
Next.
That's all 8 p.m. tonight. El Paso, 5:50 in the morning.
Still gotta wait like 2-3 more hours.
Pero es lo que tiene, la gente no tiene la paciencia. No hay paciencia.
Mi paciencia tuve 6 años.
Si yo la primera vez me metí 10 años derechos.
10?
I don't know if I still know that.
I can't believe they gave me my old ID. Had to been about 33, 32, somewhere like that. I was young back then.
Yes, ma'am. I'm trying to get a hold of property. I had some cards, credit cards, and it wasn't sent down here to Huntsville. I need that money that's on them cards.
Anybody want a fan?
Show don't tell. Anybody
Right
want a
over there,
fan?
over there, they stabbed.
See a fan.
Hit, but
How many times?
3 right in the same spot. They almost hit the main vein right there, but again, it all comes with the territory. You gotta do what you gotta do to survive, you know.
I know one thing. This is like really overwhelming for me.
Who else they call home?
It's too much.
Personal
I'm ready to
story.
lay down and close my eyes.
I ain't been asleep all night.
I ain't slept since yesterday.
Answer the phone.
Who else they call home? Like I told everybody, there's a donation. Call home, whatever it's worth to you. There you go, sir. God bless you, bro. God bless you, man.
Well, how the heck you work this thing?
I'm sorry. What's the number?
I didn't know how to
Trying to get
use
that social security
a mobile phone.
Who else they call home?
Jay Wise. That might be my lucky day. You see this
Hey, how much is it worth to you?
Hey man, I got some very important shit I need to talk to you about, man. Hey, I'm blown away right now too, bro. And hey man, it's just a trip, just being out, man. You know what I'm saying? Hey man, I know I sent you that letter, man, but just disregard that, man, because I know you take care of stuff, man. You know what I'm saying? All right, bro. I love you, man. All right, bye-bye.
Hey, who out here trying to smell good? I got some curve. Anybody trying to get a squirt? 50 cents, 2 squirts, $5 for $1. Yeah. Who else trying to smell good? 50 cents, 2 squirts, $4.
Anybody else smell one smell good? Yeah. It's just a blessing to be free again. We can be fishing, man. Man, that is a big wild bass, big old white purchase. I love it. Years. It's 30 years. My whole life, man. You know what I'm saying? It's 30 years, man. You know, you never think it's gonna come. And you know, I can't say I don't believe it, you know, because I do. But it's real, but it ain't. It's more surreal, you know.
Notice how he can't even have eye contact with the camera. Look at all the storytelling that can be told just by the pictures themselves. Are they walking
What's
out
up,
of there?
Man? It's your big brother, man. Man, I say, you know, I'm free, man. I'm outside in this free world, man. I'm finna get. Listen, I'm finna get ready to get on this Greyhound bus right now. I'll be in Dallas probably about anywhere. I'll be in Dallas about 3.5 hours. Well, I got this GPS thing on me, so I really ain't gonna be able to make too many moves. But say, man, I love y'all, man. I miss y'all. I'm on my way to the house.
We didn't see many suitcases of Gucci or Samsonite. And they're waiting for the next bus. Change the angle, Elijah, you shoot at his level, not up shooting down, right? Get at that person's level. Or get down a little bit and shoot up. Very subtle things if you change your angle. informal portraits, huh, Anijah?
Yes, sir.
Notice how difficult it is for these men to have eye contact with the camera. Just having the walker there and the story that tells about his physical condition. And you see what what it's like to taste that first couple of hours of freedom. This is that in-between story that I'm talking about. All right. We often get to the end. Sound, right, Sam? The sound of the bus pulling away, right? You know. But we often get the story, right, of the person wrongfully accused, and the story of them getting out. But rarely do we see the story about the person. You know, nobody, right, 10, nobody got out blaming the system. You know, I mean, they obviously did whatever they did, right? And they had to serve that particular amount of time, you know, but what happens to them? Where do they go? You know, and this story, it was just so impactful. And obviously, right, Anijah, a follow-up would be on the other end, them getting off the bus back in their hometowns, you know, reuniting with their families and following up and seeing what happens to them. Fam, can you move the cat? Thank you. Okay, so excellent visual storytelling, right? The main and again, I'm pulling this from chapter 1, okay, where we learned that video journalism, what we're doing here is not reality TV, okay, nor is it front page news articles. The key here is finding well-shaped, powerful stories for multimedia. Okay, who's your main character? In here, you know, the main character, so to speak, were the collective of these men, right? You know, they were the main characters of this particular piece. Okay, so for the main character, in, you know, as in your first assignment that asked you for an introspective look at the passage from Amanda Gorman's inaugural poem, you were the main character, right? You became, you know, I did that on purpose, Eli. You know, the first assignment. You know, you were supposed to be the star of your own story. You were supposed to tell the audience or tell the viewer or tell the instructor what you felt and why it was important and what you got from that. Okay. What did the passage mean to you? Okay. I'm asking you to do the same thing, right, Enrique, in the second assignments, letter to someone that I miss. So yes, you will be the main character, but what else, Eli? You will share that narrative with that person that you miss. Fast forward, and that's exactly what we did with the Harry Edwards story on Bill Walsh. Harry Edwards was the narrator, but the main character was Coach Bill Walsh. Okay, there are many ways to tell a story chronologically, you know, or to highlight the most important information, and then bit by bit through the eyes of other characters, 10. Thank you. Through the eyes of other characters, like we saw in Huntsville Station. Look how carefully that story was crafted and edited, right, Sam? You can imagine this was 11 minutes on the screen. They probably had what, hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of footage, but they chose to shape the story around these really important mini stories, right? What were some of those mini MINI stories, Tien, from Huntsville Station?
The mini story in the Huntsville video was the inmates getting out and then the interviewing.
But what were those stories? What did we hear from them?
One man was incarcerated for over 30 years. That one got me. I think that one's the main one that we can all kind of remember. But another one was, I don't think it was him, but he was talking about how he got his ID and he was only like 32, 33, and he was a young man then. So it kind of makes you wonder how long he was away for, and you know, now he's getting his taste of freedom.
What else? The man who, what, Anijah, didn't even know how to use a cell phone.
Yeah.
What does that tell you?
He was probably like put away because he didn't look that old, maybe like 30s or 40s. He probably was, you know, he could have been in juvenile hall and then tried as an adult once he hit like 18 or whatever the legal age was to be tried as an adult in his state and then sent to prison, is what I was thinking.
Also, because what, Anijah? Because the cell phone technology, the guts of the phone has changed, but also the appearance of the phones have changed. It's not that he's never used a cell phone before, right? But never one with that kind of touchscreen padding and blah, 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 this, that, and the other. Maybe when he went in, he probably went in quite possibly, Enrique, for example, when it was the iPhone 1, right, or the Samsung 1, right, and here it is up to iPhone 12 now, you know, and how the features, right, Anijah, have changed. He hadn't been exposed to that yet, right? You know, because when you make phone calls from prison, right, it's normally that, you know, like we see on TV, that phone on the wall that you pick up and you talk through, or, that type of thing. Or if you call, if you ever received a call from somebody in jail or whatever, it's the collect call, right? And so to probably for the first time in a long time to hold a phone, his thing was, how do you use this thing?
Yeah.
What? Give me another one, Eli. Quickly.
When I forget who it was, but he was using the phone to talk to someone from his hometown, you could just kind of hear the story that he was telling them about when he was coming home and what he'll be able to do because he has an ankle monitor and whatnot.
Yeah. Right. That was a gripping piece of storytelling. And was he the same guy who said, I'll be there in about 3.5 hours?
Yeah.
Okay, so you got that. You have these pieces. And we had the other ones where the guy just standing there talking and the tears are coming down his face. Right? That's powerful storytelling. Right? This first taste of freedom. It's one thing, right, Anijah, to be out in the prison courtyard getting some fresh air, right? when yes, you can look up and see the clouds, but you look up and you also see what, Sam? You see the barbed wire that reminds you that you are imprisoned. So for the first time, these folks were out and it wasn't any barbed wire, right? You know, so all these metaphors, right? This is why it's important. This is why I leave this stuff here, so you all can go back and study, 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 study. Okay, so again, there are many ways to tell the story chronologically, or like this story did, right? You know, we didn't tell the story from the well, the filmmakers didn't tell the story from the standpoint of when, you know, what they did and they went to the court system and they got locked up and blah blah blah. They chose to parachute in on the day that they were released. Okay. And also through all of that, we have that narrative arc. Again, I'm pulling this stuff right from chapter 1. Hopefully you guys will go back and reread chapter 1 through the eyes of what we just saw. We'll be able to look at and read and understand this story through Freytag's pyramid. The main characters who are affected, you learn about the conflict and how it affects them. We saw how it affected them. I mean, you're in tears, you're emotional, you know, man, I'm out, you know. We heard those details from them. And it was storytelling also, Eli, from what we didn't have a journalist narrating this. The narration came right from the ex-prisoners themselves. The reaction to the resolution on the character and where does the character, excuse me, where does the character go from here? You know, and, you know, that's how it ends. And it ends how? Very effectively, right? Did we see the buses roll down the street with them in there? We saw them in the bus, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we are told that storytelling, Sam, through what? Hearing the audio, hearing the sound of the bus rolling
There
away.
was during when the man was crying for being away for 30 years and finally getting out. I don't know if anybody else noticed, but you could actually hear the birds. Like they were a little bit louder than I think that they would have been.
All of that is on purpose.
Yeah.
You know, carefully, meticulously crafted storytelling. Mm-hmm. Okay. Again, everything starts from an idea, but keep in mind that ideas alone do not, you know, and are not a story. Your ideas must be developed. I'm sure that these filmmakers sat down and they had an idea about what they wanted to tell. And I'm going to put up another one, guys, for the weekend. We may get into it on Thursday, but it's called Motel 22. I don't know if you guys have seen that one, but it's going to blow you away. If you think this one was impactful, Tiana, I'm about to take you to another level. Okay, with Motel 22. Character-driven stories that are attached to what? To what, Enrique? To universal themes. Yeah, this was a character-driven story about a prison in Huntsville. Was it Mississippi or Alabama?
Texas.
Texas? Okay. Yeah. A universal story told locally and regionally, right? Okay. Again, as for multimedia for the web, we talked about this the other day. It is not TV or cinema houses. It's short, right? Pieces. This was 11 minutes long. Um, they usually don't go over that length. If this was a documentary class that is taught at San Jose State, you may tell a 10-minute documentary or a 5-minute documentary, but for our purposes in MCOM 63, we keep everything three minutes or shorter. Okay, any questions on Huntsville Station? Powerful, right? Powerful, powerful, powerful. Okay. All right, again, stay. Now go back and look at it again. You know, through the notes that you took and through the discussion, and listen for and watch for, you know, the shots that make up the sequences and the sequences that make up the scenes and the scenes that made up this story. Because all it was, guys, it was simple. It was establishing shots, medium shots, close-up shots, detail shots, and changing angles. Okay. I challenge you all to also watch a segment or two of National Geographic's Life Below Zero. Okay, piece that I think has been going on now for over 10 years, but it's filmed so well. Okay, they follow these 3 or 4 families or individuals up in Alaska and how they navigate that wilderness type of lifestyle. It's the storytelling and the compelling storylines on one end, but all it is, Anijah, is shot with drones and GoPro cameras and excellent audio, of course. That's all that it is. All right. And if you don't have cable or anything like that, you can go to YouTube and then just type in.
I think it's on Netflix.
Okay, or Netflix, but it will,
Yeah, because
normally, it's real easy to get, or on your computer. I think they'll let you at least see some trailers of it. If you just type in Nat Geo TV, Life Below Zero, there may be an extended trailer or maybe an episode or two on their website. Okay, I want to go now. We got about 20 something minutes left. I want to take you all. This just came up for you all today, I believe, but storytelling. We'll get through these 3 today. Think storytelling. Think main character. Okay. Think conflict and resolution. Think narrative arc. Think the conclusion. Okay. Think compelling and engaging storytelling. You got that? Let's start with, and also think universal themes, right? Told locally. Okay. Here we go. Trumpet Kid. This was done by Mel Melcon, a friend of mine. He used to work for the San Francisco Chronicle.
He wants to get 6 hours of practice in every day. That's kind of hard. That's not always feasible because of our schedules. I'd be like, today, let's stay home and let's take care of a few things around here. And he's like, but Mom, I really want to practice. I want to get out there. Please, can we go? And I want to support him.
I started when I was 6 years old. I'm good at playing the trumpet, dancing at the same time that I play the trumpet, tap dancing at the same time that I play the trumpet, and But the thing is, it's the connection that you have with the person is the main thing of entertaining.
So that's a huge chunk of time, but I think you don't get a second chance with your kids.
it's like walking. It becomes you. You don't think about it, you just do it. No one taught me, I just watched Fred Astaire and like got inspiration off of that.
To me, it's a big thing. You know, as a musician or an entertainer is a servant who helps others to get through their day. It's quite inspiring to see what he does. You know, to see all the guts he has, it's incredible. You know, this kid is out here and he's got no fear. Many of the people express that they apply it to their own lives. Or others have said, you know, I love it when you're here because it just picks up my day, you know, because my job is really stressful. And seeing you here just, you know, just really gives me a boost.
I love it with all my heart and soul. Makes me feel good. Yeah, it makes me feel that I've given something away to the people.
Two minutes and 25 seconds. You know, the universal theme, again, I'm coming now into chapter 2, which is finding and evaluating a story. Where do you find stories, Nigel? You find stories from newspapers. You find stories from walking around the city. You find stories from community bulletin boards in grocery stores. You find stories from watching the local, regional, national, and international news. You know, that's where you find stories. You know, my mantra long before I became a instructor was you can put me anywhere in the world. Doesn't matter language. And I guarantee you in 5 minutes, I'll come back with 5 stories. Because I'm curious. I want to know things. I walk down the street and I see things and I connect the dots. When I first moved here, I would drive up and down San Carlos Avenue, leading into Stevens Creek Boulevard. And I would see the Payless shoe store, and I would see the DSW shoe store. And then in the same neighborhood, I would see a shoe cobbler. You know, and that kind of fascinated me, right? I'm sitting at a traffic light, and you know, the juxtaposition of these places that sell more affordable shoes, right, up against a shoe cobbler whose job is to repair shoes. And you would think, if you ever gone into DSW, I have, you know, and you can buy 5 pairs of shoes for $100 and something, right? You know, versus a excellent pair of shoes that you paid $100 for one or $200 for a pair of shoes. I'm not talking about tennis shoes, Jordans and all that kind of stuff. But you have bought a good pair of shoes that when they wear out, the heels start to wear, or the soles, you take them to a shoe cobbler. And so one day I just walked into a shoe cobbler. You know, how did I break the ice, Sam? I had a pair of shoes in my closet that needed some new soles, right? So I walked in there under the disguise of a customer, right, needing a pair of shoes resold. Probably, I think I paid about $60 for both pair, right? But then while they were writing it up, I started a conversation and found out that yes, there's a group of people you know, who once the shoes get old, what do they do in Niger? They throw them away, right? But it's people who will have paid a good price, and that shoe fits them so well that if it begins to wear out, they'll go and they will get it resold and get new heels on it. And that niche of customer was what I was interested in. I took that story, took that information, told the people who I was and blah, blah, blah. I said, hey, can I give this story to some of my students because I think it's interesting? And about, oh gosh, 6 or 7 years ago, some MCOM 67 students went there and that was their final project. Just by observation, guys, just by observation. One day I was on campus and in between classes, I needed a haircut, but my barber had left a few weeks earlier and relocated back to LA. I called her and I said, Valerie, help me. How am I getting my haircut? She said, oh, I'll go see Dave Diggs over there on East Santa Clara, right around the corner from campus. And I went to see him. And I sat down and it was, I think it was a Tuesday. I never will forget, you know, and if you know anything about barbershops, Tuesdays and Wednesdays are the slowest days. And so I didn't have to make an appointment, and I went in there and I sat and I introduced myself and I got a great haircut, but it was from that conversation that I said, this is a larger story. And so the next month I got a haircut from another barber, heard his story. The next month, another barber, next month. And so after 10 months, I had all these great stories in my head. What did I do, Sam? I turned it into a documentary film called Barbers Inc. And I didn't have any money, no grant. I was innovative. Guess who my crew was, Anijah? Students who wanted extra credit.
Cheap labor.
Hey, but they didn't see it that way. They saw it as a learning experience.
Yeah, and it is.
And so I use them as camera people and as editors and so forth and so on. And again, how do you put together this narrative piece of storytelling? Barbers Inc. went on to win some awards, and now we're in production on Barbershop Diaries 2. All from just going in and being curious and being observant. In the African-American community, Anijah would tell you that the hair salon and the beauty shop and the barbershop for the Black man, that's our country club. That's where we exchange the gossip and the this and the that and all this other stuff, right? Where you can go and speak freely. And that's what I did. You know, real simple. You know, but you gotta be curious. You gotta be curious. The first piece that we saw was by Mel Khan. Brilliant cat. Okay, brilliant. I mean, brilliant filmmaker. He's now relocated to the East Coast with his wife. Again, go back and look at Trumpet Kid. You know, it was so much there, right? It's not only the storytelling, you know, the shot sequences and all of that, but the storytelling. The main character was the kid, right? But also the mother, right? You know, she wasn't going to send her kid out there, right? You know, and expose him with that trumpet, you know, and that change that he was getting to robbers. But, you know, she always stayed in the background. And she talked about, right, she was a secondary character, but she talked about being supportive of her son. But the bottom line was his kid. How many of you all would be willing enough or brave enough to go stand on a street corner, a busy street corner, and expose your craft, right? Your visual or musical prowess. Let's look at Marzipan.
When I was supposed to go back to New Orleans, I actually had the option. I had just enough money to either catch a train back to New Orleans or buy a monkey suit. I opted for the latter. Yeah, and I bought the monkey suit instead of a train ticket. I go by the name Marzipan. And I also go by the classical guitar jukebox monkey, which is another aspect of my psychology, I imagine. After I put the monkey suit on, people don't want to look at it. People, you just see as I walk down the street, they gotta look up, but then look down, or look somewhere else. They don't want to see it. But when I set up on stage in Union Square, they love it. What it turns out to be, it's a perfect contrast to be a monkey playing Beethoven. Not only do the kids get a hoot out of it, but the adults are like, holy Moses, like he's playing Mozart, and it's a monkey. So it's the contrast, and it works out perfectly. I found out my mom died. I went to contact her.
This is called a layer to the story.
On the internet, I tried to look up her phone number, and I found rather than her phone number, I found her obituary. The inheritance ran out around late December, so I lived on the streets. I mean, I could be homeless in Kansas. That'd suck. You know, and I guess I'm hard from after being homeless in New Orleans after Katrina. So myself personally, I can I can deal with the weather and everything like that. But when people realize I'm carrying an amplifier on me, I'm a target. So I have to I have to be careful, because once the equipment goes out, it's like I'm unemployed. You know.
Brilliant piece of storytelling. What's the universal theme, Eli? Quickly, what's the universal theme? Eli. It's right in front of you. Enrique, what is it? The universal theme is homelessness. Right, Eli? Right? But it's a unique take on homelessness.
Yeah. Like instead of buying a bus ticket, he bought the monkey suit instead to try and make more money.
Right.
Help himself out.
But beyond that was what? How do you draw people to you to make that money was what, Anijah? It was the monkey suit on one hand, but how many times have you walked down the streets of any city across America and seen somebody in a monkey suit playing Beethoven or playing classical music on a guitar?
Mozart.
Right? And so here you are, this guy came up with this idea, right? And I can imagine what his take home every night is, right? But he's still skeptical because he has to keep everything with him, right? Because he can't put anything down, especially that amplifier, because, right, he's I'm gonna say schizoid. It's just the way it is. Somebody would take advantage of him and steal it. But it's a wonderful story, you know. But again, Mike Kepka saw this story, right? He saw it, you know, investigated it. You know, we got one main character, which is this guy. We never get his name because he refers to remain nameless, right? You know, but still granted him the access to tell his story, and he did it amazingly well with those videos. So again, you got the shot sequences, you got the compelling and engaging storytelling. You know, it definitely visually does what, Naja, it pulls you in, it holds your attention through the narrative arc. You got the story layers. Did we notice, go back and listen to it again, notice how when the music changed and became dramatic, his story changed, right? Because that's when he said, you know, he was looking for his mother, you know, in the New Orleans newspaper, because he wanted to reconnect with her, and instead found her obituary. And then he went on to get whatever inheritance that was left, but it ran out, right? You know, so many layers to that particular story, right? Excellent storytelling by Mike Kepka. Lastly, for the day, in our last 6 minutes, we talk about a you know, other stories that are stories called stories from the past.
My name is Lee W. Gibson, and I am 100 years old.
This is all
my first job as a chair car attendant.
Still pictures, still images.
Was to load the passengers, take care of our luggage, clean the coaches, and unload them at various stops where they were to get off. My salary at that time was 23 cents per hour. Wasn't too bad with the tips we received. When the railroad company took over the Pullman cars, I was elevated to Pullman porter. My first trip was to Promontory, Utah in 1969. The records show that I am the oldest Pullman porter alive. I love the job because I like to travel.
Formal
and I love the people. Well, the job meant a lot to me, and it meant that I can take care of my family, feed them, send them to school. My wife's name was Beatrice. We were happily married for 76 years, and we were high school sweethearts. My wife passed away October 4th, 2004. The most joy in my life was brought by my children, my daughters. They do everything possible for me, and they love their daddy. I love my daughters.
He's the backbone of our family.
Changing angles,
my dad,
Niger?
right now, they say when your children are
Natural
grown,
light?
you don't have to deal with them anymore. Well, at 78 years old, I can holler daddy louder than anybody you have ever heard, and he'll say, what do you need? At 100. All the young men in our family look up to my dad. We're just grateful for him.
Most of my friends have passed on ahead of me.
Layers?
So the ones I have now are really the ones that came up through the children. Sometimes I feel very sad. I miss them. Nothing we can do about it. Mm-hmm. No.
Don't you worry about me. I'm just another soldier on my way home.
I do have a lady friend. She's 82 years old. Her name is Mrs. Evelyn Dotson. We met at a church where we were both attending at the same time. And we've been friends ever since that time. From the time we started dating, she's been a whole lot to me. She's been a lot of company for me. Quite a companion. Yeah.
What a story, huh? 2 minutes and 55 seconds. From the past up until now, we got 2 minutes real quick. What did this gentleman, what was unique about his past, Eli?
Just how he's been doing this same job for so long.
What job, Eli? What are you, what's wrong, man? This man was a Pullman porter who started out making 23 cents an hour, didn't complain about it. He said no problem because the tips, he was able to raise his family. He was married to his wife for 76 years. They raised 3 daughters. At one point, he was what, Anijah? He was the oldest Pullman porter in the country, right? And that's how we told the story. That's how we got into the story, right? Mel Conn is another friend of mine, still with the LA Times. So he tells this story about his wife, again, married 76 years. She died, the 3 daughters, the daughter,
sweethearts.
The daughter comes in and talks about how close they are to the father and the next generation, because we saw the grandsons. And then we had a story layer, Eli, which was what, what's that?
Him outliving his friends.
He outlived, living his friends. Again, nothing that you can do about it. And then it ends with what, Enrique, what? It ends how?
It ends off with him and
his new girlfriend at age 82, right? And the story, what a wonderful story. 2 minutes and 55 seconds. Okay. Anijah, you will see that story again in J95, but I pulled that into MCOM 63 this morning as another way, again, back to chapter 2, where it talks about, how you can tell stories through, again, using stories from the past to come forward. Wow. If y'all didn't get an education this morning, I don't know what, but the beauty of it is what, guys? Go back between now and Thursday and study these 4 stories. Study Huntsville Station, Trumpet Kid, Marzipan, and Pullman Porter. Go back and reread chapters 1 and 2, and you'll see the interconnection of them. And then at the same time, begin to assemble in your heads, the storytelling aspects that you're going to need for your next assignment, letter to someone that I miss. 11:46, I went over 1 minute. If you need anything, email me. I will see you all on Thursday.
Okay, thank you. I got a question actually about the letter to someone I miss.
Yep.
Would it be okay, because I was thinking about doing it on my grandfather, and I don't really have any footage on him. So after seeing Pullman Porter, would it be okay if I just do like still images here and there?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, you
Okay.
can use, if you don't have video, you can use still images.
Yeah, like it wasn't that long ago, but at this point it was like 10 years ago, and
that's fine.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. You never complain about what you don't have. You use what you got.
All right. Thank you.
All right. See y'all Thursday.
Bye.